Budget and Position Review Committee to order. Oswaldo, you ready? Okay. So the first position is with Highway Department to fill 4. You just lost my screen.
Sorry, I was pulling up the actual resolution.
4 seasonal labor positions with the Highway Department. Ron Knott's on the call. Ron, can you talk a little bit about this?
Yes, thank you. The county has a total of 24 plow runs that require 48 personnel and 24 frontline plow trucks. 1 additional operator for the Hudson Yard loader brings it to a minimum of 49 personnel are required. We currently have 45 drivers and wingmen. So this was written on Friday, and we said that we were currently 3 short on full-time funded employees due to recent resignations. This morning, we received another resignation, bringing it to a total of 10 people that we've lost this year. So we also have an employee out on an extended sick leave until December. We're not sure where that's going to end up. We can cut back some of the airport crew this year and cover it at a later date and time after they plow the roads. We have done that in the past. Going forward, we have always budgeted to have 6 seasonal employees that just come in and work from November till April or so to plow the roads. When we decided to drop the state contract, we thought that we would just work with these 6 seasonal employees so that we could get through the winter. These people are kind of full-time, but they don't get benefits. So then they do cover for other people. So you're at a minimum staff. And one thing I will tell you that Bernie taught me years ago is that, if you need 60 men to go out and plow the roads with, you need to have about 80 on the payroll, because at any given time, a whole bunch of them could be out with personal or sick leave, different reasons, or workman's comp cases, or different things. So we're at a minimum staffing right now, but we're trying to get by. So Tony's request was to provide 4 of these 6 seasonal workers. I'm here to say that I would like to try and see us get by with 3 of them, so that not only have we cut down 10 of our full-time people, but we've cut our seasonal staff in half. And that's where I would like to suggest is that we try and hire 3 seasonal workers in this resolution.
And so, Ron, we had 10 people that are off now that are by attrition or left, whatever, but short. Full-time, but we use 10 people for plowing, correct? The state contract, right?
Yes, and what you got to remember, we dropped some of them last year, and I should go back and get a total of that, because I don't think this 10 includes the ones that we dropped last year. If you remember, last year we gave up half of the state contracts. I think we cut back 3 workers.
Ron, Tony is on.
Okay, can Tony speak better to that? Tony?
Yeah. Last year we lost 4 of those state contracts, 4 of them state runs. So that was we unfunded last year a total of, I believe, 5 personnel. And this year we, for the upcoming budget, unfunded an additional 4. So that's a total of 9 unfunded positions that we figured we no longer need because of the loss of the state runs. Since that time, we have, I think in the last 2 months, I've had, I believe, 5 resignations. So we went from having 1 man too many. We were going to try and find, it was kind of going to be a spare, to now we are actually 4 positions short. And like Ron mentioned, we can cover the airport by bringing the trucks off the road, after their runs, and then go into the airport like we've done in the past. But even with doing that, we are 2 men short for the roads themselves, the plow runs themselves. And additionally, we have one guy who's out on extended sick leave who won't be reevaluated till about mid-December. So before the winter even starts, we are at a minimum 3 people short in the plow trucks just to plow the roads. So that's kind of where we at. And those seasonal guys have always been used to fill in for If guys are out sick, unavailable for whatever reason. And right now, they would be used to fill in the plow trucks before the season even starts. They would be assigned to a truck because we are short. So that's kind of why they're needed, just so we can get to our minimum. And again, most likely, a lot of them trucks will be going out with just the driver in them because like Ron said, no matter how much you plan for the minimum amount of drivers and helpers you need at any given time, any given storm, somebody's out, and usually multiple people are out for whatever reason. So starting off short right from the bat, like I said, those seasonal guys would be in the trucks, assigned to a truck, because we don't have the full-time people to put in there. And then, like we've done in the past, drivers will have to go out by themselves. When you start doing that for prolonged periods of time, though, especially with bigger storms, you run into fatigue. All of our drivers and helpers are CDL drivers, so our drivers are all trained and have the ability to drive when the main driver is tired, which is a lot of the winter. So right now we've lost the ability to kind of to do that. So you run into safety issues. Not to mention we don't because we by contract as a driver and helper assigned to every truck, we don't train for one-man plowing. So when that truck goes out with just the driver, the wing stays in the air, which means for those passes while that truck's on the road, he's only plowing the width of the road with a front plow, and then another truck would have to come off his run and push that snow back. So in a bigger in minor snowstorms, it's not an issue. When you get bigger snowstorms where you're pushing a lot of snow, pushing back with a wing is critical to keeping the roads open. So that's kind of where we're at manpower wise. I know I kind of rambled on a little bit, but.
Hey, Tony, Rick Sclair, I got a quick question. On the average, should you hire, say, 6 seasonal employees in November? What's usually the average that they're still there by April?
Most of the time, well, and I can tell you, some years we don't even get all 6 because either we don't get the applications or sadly we can't get them past the drug test. But so some years we don't have full 6. Most of the time, the ones that we do get stay through the winter. Very seldom do they leave, but we have had that in the past. We might start with 4, start with 6, and by April only have 4. But more than likely, it's usually the other way around. Not the other way around, but more than likely, we'll end up only being able to get 4 or 5. But most of the time, they stay throughout the winter. And a lot of these guys too, they come here for winter help with the intent on eventually going full time. And we've had several full-time employees that have come from the winter program. They get their CDL or they come here and they already have a CDL. We get a pretty good taste on whether or not they last full time.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, how long can a driver actually plow on that truck before he has to, get back out, Tony, for a break or something? Is there amount of time for that?
Well, legally, and there's been a lot of question about this over the years. We tend to not fall underneath the DOT driver, hours of service regulations, because when we're operating, we're considered to be emergency vehicles in this emergency situation. So outside of that, it kind of varies from driver to driver. Some guys it doesn't seem to bother at all. I know I was always one that I would rather continue to drive than have somebody else drive my truck because I was very particular like that. And again, a lot of it depends on the storm. If you're out there and it's heavy snow for hours on end, eventually you really can't see. I'm sure you've all heard of the phrase snow blind. It's a real thing, so you get 10, 12, 15, 20 hours into a storm. It's nice to be able to switch off with a wingman that's actually also a driver. Makes a big difference. And although we don't do a whole lot of overnights anymore, generally we'll only do overnights and by overnights, I mean straight on through. If it's like a blizzard where we're worried about getting people back, back in, or an ice storm, where we'll keep people. And sometimes it's actually better to stay because, we'll try to get out of here by 10 o'clock at night. Most times that ends up being 11, and you're pretty much guaranteed at least one truck will break down, which gets them out of there at 12. And we're back in by 3:30, 4 o'clock. So by the time these guys get home, they're getting maybe 2 hours of sleep and coming back. So if you
Thank you.
have that company to kind of keep you awake, it can.
Supervisor Sterling just sent a text in, and she was asking the question, is there a reason for the resignations? I'm assuming that it's all over the map. Tony?
It's been various. At least 3 of them have been for other jobs. I know one guy went to the town of Chatham, more money. One guy, he went to lineman school, so he's going to get a job as a lineman. Again, more money. The most recent one, I'm not quite sure exactly what the reason was. It came in Friday afternoon after we had left. I haven't gotten a chance to speak to the individual, but I believe it was, I don't know if it's money or what, but like I said, I haven't talked to him. And yeah, it's really been just other jobs, going to other jobs. The thing is, all these guys all have CDLs, so they can go almost anywhere and make more money. I mean, that's something we've always known. Very seldom do they come this way unless they're later in life and they realize they want something a little more steady and a little more guaranteed. But with the CDLs,
We have
really
to make
think
sure that they,
What's that?
I think we got to make sure that they realize what they're getting when you start packaging up the whole package, when you include
Absolutely.
retirement and
Absolutely.
health benefits and all the
Yeah.
extra days and, days
Right.
off.
And with younger guys, yeah, Jim, I feel younger guys don't really look at it. Younger guys,
I know.
you look at the money. Very seldom you have somebody that really looks at the entire package, that,
Right.
retirement and all that. And I think that's a big part of it. I do have, I got another guy who's waiting right now on a call from Greene County because he took the corrections test over there. Again, looking at the dollar signs, I assume, although I don't know how much the dollar signs are over in Greene County, but so that's really it, and it's luck of the draw. We've had it before in the past where it seems like one day they're knocking down the door trying to get in, and we got a stack of applications, and a month later you can't find anybody. And right now the state, they're scrambling. They've been scrambling for the last 3 years to try and fill their positions. So they're just not walking through the door for these kinds of jobs anymore. I guess it used to be where you'd wait for 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get a civil service job. And for some reason, that's not the case anymore. I'm not quite sure why.
Thank you. Thanks, Tony.
You're welcome.
Okay, so can I get a motion on this resolution?
I'll make it. Galera.
Were we going to go with 4 or 3, Ron? 4.
Ron is recommending 3, so the resolution should be for 3 seasonal workers.
Okay. I'll second it for 3.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, Tony.
You're welcome. Thank you.
The next item up is solid waste. Ron, you're on again? Ron, not?
Yeah, is Jolene on? She was on a conference call with the state. Didn't know she was going to make it.
She's not on.
Okay. So what we have there again is I didn't get the overtime information that Jimmy had requested earlier, but we were down to kind of minimum staffing last month, and we approved a new hire to fill one of the positions, and so we had a bigger part-time pool. And then we had an employee who passed away this past month, so we were back to lacking people, and we end up using overtime, and we can cover some of it with overtime. Eventually, we may max some of these people out and burn them out. So I didn't get the exact information from Billy as to what the overtime would cost, but we're covering these positions with overtime in order to maintain the stations open that we have. And as you know, solid waste is a department that is busier than all get out because of what's going on in the world right now. But
Ron, how
so
much
we were
overtime do we actually, did the guys work per man? I don't know if you knew that. A couple
I
hours
don't-
a day or?
yeah, I don't have that information in front of
Okay,
me.
that's all right. It's almost the same question. I'm sorry. I just was wondering if you knew, you know.
We can generate a report on that, but I don't have it right now.
That's all right. Thank you anyway.
So are we, Ron, I know we discussed, are we waiting on this or are we, until, because you haven't been able to hire someone under the emergency fill. Ron, not?
Yep, there we go. Couldn't unmute there for a minute. So yeah, I did authorize an emergency fill back when this person passed away, but we have not been able to fill it at this point in time. So it is very open. So we can put it off if you want to do that.
You put it off, you can't hire somebody now.
Can't hire anybody now. So
I don't get it. I mean, it's a $15 an hour job based on an employee that passed away.
right, it
And,
makes $20 a week or something. It's not a lot, but
and it's going to create from, possibly or alleviate overtime. For me, it's a no-brainer.
I'd like to know how much how much overtime it is alleviating though, you know?
Well,
All
I'm assuming we can get that answer prior to the board meeting.
yes.
So, I mean, I think we can act on this, and if it's, if it's not a lot of overtime, then we can pull it. But if it is alleviating overtime, we'll
Sure.
leave it in.
Okay.
So I would entertain a motion.
I'll move that.
Ron Knott. Second,
I'll second.
second it.
Art Basson. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Bob Gibson, are you on the line?
I am, thanks.
Can you-
Yeah, I had a,
I was going to ask if you can talk about the vacant budgeted clerk typist position.
I could, thanks, Matt. So, yeah, I'm actually down a couple of clerk typists. And, one of my clerk typists left just as COVID was hitting and the hiring freeze was coming about, and which put us down. And we figured, well, we'll be okay. We'll just marshal some assets and resources around, and we'll get it through. But now we're down a second clerk typist, and I've got coverage that I've got to do in a front lobby, in a window that's a walk-up, and also they assist different workers throughout the building, including doing heap. So we've been really sort of up against the wall as it is. And when the last clerk typist left, she actually went over to human resources, just so she stayed in the county and went across the way.
No, she went to the Department of Human Services, not me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I said resources.
I just didn't want anybody thinking I scalped your employee, Bob.
You know what? Michael did not scalp my employee. Somebody else did that. But that's okay. I've forgiven them. But so they went over to the human services, and so we're sort of down. Now, as luck would have it, the clerk typist who did leave back in just at the end of March, beginning of April, who's working up at the state, did indicate a willingness to come back in, and as I understand it, was cleared through civil service um, last week to do so. So my request is simply to bring her back. I would just note since the time of the freeze, we're down 6 employees, and I haven't been looking to fill any of those. So, we're still ahead of the game, and we're still even ahead of the savings that we thought we would have by imposing a hiring freeze.
Okay.
And you did say that this helps with the HEAP applications?
Oh, it helps with HEAP. It does. It helps in the lobby. It helps in the walk-up, and it helps with intake of clients.
Now, are these positions funded from the state at 60+%?
They're not that high. These are a little bit lower. So there's probably 30+% that we're able to get in admin costs. So it's not 100% county cost.
Okay. Any questions for Bob or concerns?
Who's been doing the work since April 1st?
So, I've actually taken some folks off of different positions to sort of come in and fill out, go into the lobby window or do the intake for us. We have certain clerks upstairs. They're above the clerk typist, but they're in the clerk position. And they've been working, with services upstairs, but they've pitched in and filled out. So, we're just anything we could up until now. But with the last clerk leaving, we're really short now.
I get it.
Okay.
So we would need a motion.
I'll make the motion, Scalera.
Rick Scalera, second.
Second is
I'll second.
Basson on that.
All right, it was a tie, but I'll give it to Art Basson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Bob.
Hey,
Thank
Bob,
you, folks. Yeah.
before you hang up, can you give me a call, please, in the office?
Will do. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next position is Dan Amasi. Are you on the call? Okay.
He was supposed to be. He said he was getting on. I don't
Okay.
see him there though.
Well, we'll get started, and if we, as everyone knows, at the board meeting last week, we approved 2 positions to be filled by the Office of Human Services. Whether it was for either a behavioral health social worker and or a behavioral health social worker. One was a grade 18C or a grade 17C, whichever they could recruit. This was going to help alleviate some of their backlog or waiting list. They had a waiting list of 60+ individuals, and that by filling those, it was going to alleviate the backlog plus take care of Columbia Green Community College's needs. In that, since we passed that resolution, another employee has resigned or retired, who was a senior psychiatric social worker, which was a much higher grade. And they're looking to replace that person with either the grade 18C or 17C. The person that's retiring had a caseload of 90 people. So it's for all the same, they want to fill this for all the same reasons they came to us last month. This would create a backlog again if we don't fill it of probably 50 to 60 or 70 people. It would, and this position also does generate revenue. If you remember, the positions that he filled at the last meeting were basically a wash. That they were going to generate enough revenue to cover their salaries. So
I believe also we're paid pretty quickly on this, according to Ron, correct?
Ron and PJ, yeah, they're paid. This is by billing of for services. This isn't state aid funded. It's
Right.
Yeah, this is Beacon Billing or Bonadale. They do all the billing for us. Third-party payers.
Okay.
are
So
different.
based on what Dan Almasi has told us, this would be a budgetary wash in terms of filling the position, and they would generate enough revenue to pay for itself.
I'll make that motion then.
Second,
Second, Scalera.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I think that's all we have, right, Kelly?
Yep, that's it.
Any other questions or anything else to bring up?
You know what? I'd like to see a mandate that these department heads be on the call. So we don't have to fish around for questions or anything like that. If they can't get through, that's one thing. Or if they have some other conflict, but they got to try. And
Well, Jolene had a conference call with the state, so Ron was filling in for her. And Dan Almasi said he'd be on, and I don't know what happened to him, so.
okay, in the future, I'm talking about.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
usually
know-
they're on, so.
We notify them all of the meetings, so. And I would think that, they would want to be on to state their case.
The other thing is I'd like to see too is, I think committee chairs, if we're going to be doing a different freeze or a hard freeze, I think the only one who should be filling an emergency fill would be the chairman or through this committee. And that committee chairs can't just do these emergency fills either.
Okay, we can talk more about that on Wednesday.
Okay.
Any other questions or topics? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
Good job, Oswaldo.